Most people believe success hinges on IQ, talent, strategy, or a bit of luck. But after studying folks like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson, I've come to realize that the real differentiator is speed. Think about it. Most people are on a path to eventually become really well off. The problem is, they're moving so slowly that they'll never get there in their lifetime. The truly successful have just learned to make that same progress way faster. The good news? All the millionaires and billionaires I know follow the same 7 steps to accelerate their progress. It's how I made my first million by 27, and how I now do over $100 million in revenue in my 40s. And here's the best part. Speed doesn't mean working harder, and it doesn't require you to already have money. If you want to progress faster than anyone, these are the 7 steps to do it. Step 1. Burn the boats. Most people struggle with making the right decisions because they don't have enough pressure. Anytime I'm working with entrepreneurs, we always build a 5-year plan. Then I ask them, what would need to be true for you to get that done in 1 year? Most people say, well, that's impossible. I'll press them. What's your confidence score that you could get it done if you had to get it done? Usually, it's a 2 or 3. They're like, this is a 5-year plan. You're asking me to get it done in 1. Then I invite them to consider this. What if you knew at the end of the year that if you didn't hit that 5-year goal, you'd not only have to sell your business, you'd lose all your money, and you'd only be able to work for someone else for the rest of your life? How likely are you to hit that goal then? All of a sudden, their confidence level shoots to 10. Most people don't create a scenario where it's an absolute must. They give themselves an out. They don't burn the boats. The best entrepreneurs go all in. My philosophy is, I don't trick myself into liking to do things. I create a scenario where I have to do them. I've discovered there are only 3 ways to burn the boats. Force a deadline. I don't care if it's signing up for an Ironman or selling a product before you even build it. You must have a timeline and a date. Put money on the line. My to-do list is always prioritized based on where my money is. Putting my money on the line is a great forcing function for focus. Even if you don't have much money, just make a bet with someone else. If you don't achieve that goal, you'll owe them a significant amount. Create that financial pressure. It's okay. Make an external commitment. Make a public commitment to your friends, your coworkers, your investors. The truth is, you'll do more to avoid pain when you're emotionally connected to the stakes than you ever will to gain something. So now that you have no way out, it's time to move forward. Step 2. Default to action, not preparation. Most people make the mistake of preparing for action instead of simply taking it. One of my favorite recent stories about Elon Musk comes from his book by Walter Isaacson. After buying Twitter, which he renamed X, he asked the team in charge of data centers how long it would take to consolidate and shut some of them down. Someone on the team said 6 months. Elon was incredulous. It doesn't take 6 months. The guy insisted, it's going to take 6 months. Elon reiterated, I don't think it should take 6 months. And again, the guy replied, it's going to take 6 months. So, after visiting the headquarters and flying back home, Elon was flying over Sacramento, realized the data centers were there, landed the plane, went and rented a U-Haul, and started cutting and pulling out server racks, throwing them in the truck. What everyone else told him would take 6 months, he got done in 3 days. Most people don't take action because they're worried about not making the right decision. What I've learned is, the richest people make a decision and then they make it right. That's why JFDI, just do it, is my motto. It's on my lessons plate, it's how I operate. So, here are 4 ways to default to action instead of sitting around hoping you make the perfect decision. The buy when rule. I can't tell you how many times I talk to people and I'm like, hey, when am I going to get this? They're like, oh yeah, later this week, or at the end of the month. I respond, no, by when? Give me a date, give me a time. If you say Friday, I'm going to say, why not Tuesday? Well, I won't have time. What about Wednesday? That's a little aggressive. How about Thursday? Okay, I'll have it to you by Thursday, 2 p.m. That's what I'm talking about. If you allow people to give you arbitrary numbers, they'll just take that amount of time, and you slow down your progress. The 2-minute rule. This one is hilarious. Most people spend more time documenting the steps to do something than it would actually take to just do the thing. If it takes less than 2 minutes to get it done, just do it right away. The 70% rule. This is all about making decisions. The definition of entrepreneurship is making decisions with imperfect data. As long as I have 70% of the data, I make a decision. It doesn't have to be complete. It doesn't have to be certain. I can always reverse a decision, but 70% is good enough for me. Type 1 versus Type 2 decisions. A Type 1 decision is like a one-way door. Once you make that decision, there's no going back easily. Think about buying a company or raising money from a major investor. You want to slow down for those. A Type 2 decision is like a revolving door. You can walk in, and if it's not working, you can walk right back out. Hiring someone is a great example. Most people hesitate to hire because they're scared of a long-term commitment. They think, oh, that's an extra $50,000 or $100,000 a year. No, it's whatever they cost per month. If you make a bad decision, you can transition them off the team and call it a lesson learned. The most successful people understand how to differentiate between these types of decisions and how to act even without perfect data or absolute confidence. But after you start taking action, you need to find ways to improve quickly. Step 3. Model, then modify. If you want to get on my bad side, ask me for advice. I hand you the blueprint, and then you take the pieces you like, ignore the rest, and then it doesn't work for you, and you blame me. I don't second guess when somebody gives me their blueprint. I go, I'm going to execute this line by line to figure out if it works or it doesn't. Tony Robbins has this great quote that says, "Success leaves clues." If you want to move fast, you have to model people who are successful. If you're smart about it, you'll be able to integrate their lessons learned as fast as possible to move quickly. This is how I think about it. Great artists know how to steal like an artist. It doesn't mean you copy. It means you take the essence of what they're doing, the principles, and then you make it your own. You want to copy the container, not necessarily the content. By making it your own, it means understanding what's different about your market, your product, your own story, or the personalities in your business. Each part is going to impact how you model what you see. My philosophy is very simple. Every time I start something new, I ask myself, who do I know that's already done this? Who out there has already been successful? When I started coaching, I literally said, who are the coaches that have made over 8 figures a year doing it in an ethical way that I can admire their brand? I was very clear about who I wanted to learn from. Because of that, I only found those people. I got their playbooks, I understood their models, I made them my own, but then I was able to execute faster than anybody in the industry. And the truth is, if you're really stuck and you don't feel comfortable reaching out to people, which I get, then you should just ask ChatGPT. Think about it, the AI has indexed the whole world's information, and it'll give it all to you for free, without feelings. So the blueprints exist. I always love to ask people, what are you pretending not to know? The truth is, the AI will give you the answer. Then you have to take that and execute. And the cool part is, with the right model and traction, this next step will multiply your speed. Step 4. Fire bullets, then cannons. Most people think the fastest way to progress is to go for the biggest win as soon as possible. But the reality is, most people aren't ready. If I showed up to your door right now and said, here's a $100 million purchase order for whatever you're selling, you would probably crumble under the weight of that new opportunity. I learned this strategy from an incredible book called Great by Choice. The author, Jim Collins, has a whole chapter on this section where his philosophy is, shoot, 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 calibrate. Once you get shots on goal, then load up the cannon and put more resources behind it. If you don't, you might come out way too fast, too strong, and then run out of time to actually figure out the business. One of my buddies, Matt, has this incredible product called Precision, an AI-powered dashboard for business insights. Most people, when they have ideas like this, they think, I'm going to go hire a bunch of engineers and spend $10 million and build this new innovation and not learn fast enough. Matt said, no, I'm going to build one very specific use case, pre-sell it, go get 50 customers, validate it, get them using it and loving it. Then I'm going to invest more money in the engineering to expand what the product does. That is the definition of peer. What's funny is most people won't do this approach because they're worried about losing. But what's true is, winners lose more than losers ever will. When I'm building a business, I always assume I'm wrong about some aspect of it. There's something about the business model that's off. So what I do is, I create my riskiest assumptions list. a list of all the things around the business of how it's going to work and how I'm going to build it. I then prioritize it based on the riskiest assumption. If the first assumption is wrong, then the second and third don't really matter. And then I attack the first one. I try to validate it. Taking those little shots is how you eventually load up the cannon to make big progress. But if you're not careful, you'll end up complicating things too much. Step 5. Simplify your business. The easiest thing to do is make things complex. Every person on your team has a good idea, a suggestion, some feedback on how you can make things better. The problem is, if you say yes to every one of those suggestions, you'll wake up one day with sops out the wazoo, quality issues, people confused, nobody getting any work done. They're going to be buried under the load of complexity. You cannot scale chaos. I believe in right time, right action, appropriate response to challenges. So, to really land the plane on this, I want to share some complexity killers to keep things super simple. Simplify your goals. Most people have too many things they want to do instead of picking the one thing, the leading domino, that if they got it done, everything else takes care of itself. Simplify your decisions. I wear the same colored shirt every time. Why? I don't want to burn brain cells making decisions around things I've already made the decision around. Simplify your workflows. If you do something once, and you know you'll be doing it again every week, create some automation so you never have to do the same thing twice. Simplify your commitments. Design your calendar where you have a rhythm of success that you don't have to revisit every time. If that's date night every Thursday, like it is for me, then that's when you do date night. Lock it in and don't make those decisions every week. Regular pruning. Understand that things will evolve and become complex, and you have to deliberately prune the complexity in your calendar, just like you take care of a garden. You've got to get rid of those weeds. Step 6. Get obsessed with your progress. I've got a confession to make. My wife is about to kick me out of bed. She's annoyed with me that every night, all I do is watch YouTube videos on AI, language models, and robotics. Why? Because it's the thing I'm all in on. Most people don't realize that for you to win and do things that very few other people have done, it requires focus. It requires intensity. And the funny part is, if you're doing it right, other people will be telling you, you're way too much. I get it. You can't be a world-class friend, a world-class husband, a world-class entrepreneur, a world-class dad, a world-class everything, and actually be as successful as you'd like to be in life. You're literally going to have to decide, this is a season of no. This is a season of obsession. This is a season of focus, and you're going all in on you. This is my invitation for you to embrace obsession. Here's how to immerse yourself. Immerse yourself. I think of it like standing in a waterfall. Whatever you want to accomplish, you want to be drinking from the fire hose as if you were sitting at the bottom of a waterfall, smashing you in the face, and you're trying to drink as much water as you can. It's probably going to kill you, but on the other side of that, you will learn a lot. Hang around with other people that are obsessed. I have a weekly AI expert roundtable that I curate with all the top people in the world to learn as fast as I can. Because I can't possibly consume, read, understand, and process everything that's going on, I use them as a way to get more feedback. Don't learn tactics, learn how they think. Understand the principles behind their decisions. That for me is my favorite thing. When I go for dinner, I'm always asking people, what made you decide to make that decision? How did you see that market that caused you to think about that strategy? Learning how people think will help you think better. Learning a tactic will teach you something short-term that will be obsolete in a month. The way you should think about it is going all in. And check this out, the word, calling, the thing that everybody's trying to figure out. What is their calling in life? In the center of that word is the word, all in. It's required. It's an ingredient. Step 7. Go find bigger problems. If you want to compress decades into years, then you're going to have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You see, life is just like a video game. Every time you go to a new level, you have to be okay sucking again to get better. So what got you here will not get you there, and you should calibrate based on the size of problems you have. If you have small problems, you probably live a small life. If you have big problems, you're living a bigger life. Do you want oil change problems, or do you want jet fuel problems? I think you should always be on the pursuit to find bigger problems. It's kind of like in math, there's this concept called the local maxima, which is essentially this equation to try to figure out where's the top of the mountain. The challenge is that once you get to the top of that mountain, if you don't realize there's a bigger mountain, but to get to that bigger mountain you have to go down through the valley and up to the next one, you might actually be at the peak of the current stage of where you're at in life, but definitely not where you could possibly be. But you've got to be willing to go back to go up. So, wanting to find bigger challenges, bigger problems, saying, please bring them, being grateful for your problems, is how you continue that journey. The other thing I encourage you to consider is to reset your vision. Go bigger. I don't care what your vision is. Add a zero and ask yourself, why not me? Why not you? Over the next 10 years, 25 years, I'm going to wake up either way and build something and create. And the only difference in the size of the thing I build is my decision today on what I want to build. Because if it's $1 million business in 10 years, guess what? I'll hit it. If it's a $100 million business in 10 years, you'll make a different series of decisions every time you wake up to hit that. So, why not you? These 7 steps are how you achieve your goals even faster. But the reality of it is, it's more than just achieving your goals. It's about learning how to enjoy the journey. My philosophy is, if you ever have the chance to get to the top, it's your responsibility to send the elevator back down.